everyone, welcome to Studio Science. My name is Surinder Chaudhary. In today's workshop, I have brought to you a particular type of question in IELTS reading, that is fill in the blanks, and further it is segmented as completing the sentences, because in our complete video of understanding reading we talked about 11 different types of questions in IELTS reading. So out of these, today I'm going to talk about this one particular type of question, and we are going to have a complete workshop of it, because I have taken an entire passage that occurred in actual IELTS exam, and we are going to understand that passage and we are going to solve these type of questions in that passage. Okay, so first of all, we are going to have the look on the topic which we are going to cover today. The name of the passage is the mega fires of California. So in this passage, there occurred 6 fill in the blank questions. There are these. Okay, you can have a quick preview of the questions. In this, you can see they have asked you to complete 6 sentences in which they have left a blank. But before going to the question, the most important part to understand is to read the instructions, because if you are reading the instructions correctly in the fill in the blanks part, you will be able to mark right answers. Why am I saying that? Because a number of students ignore this part where they ask you or where they prescribe you the allowed number of words to put in your blank. So here please read it very carefully, that you are allowed to use only one word or a number, or you can use a number and a word. So that means you cannot use more than one words, or you cannot use more than one numbers. So if you read that very carefully, there are high chances that you will find the right answers for it. So then you can see they have given you a particular segment of the passage where you are supposed to find these blanks, because you will be able to track your locations very carefully if you know that where you are supposed to find it. So you can see they have given you a title for these questions. That title is wildfires. So now, as I told you earlier, skimming and scanning are going to come very handy in this. If you have skimmed and scanned your text carefully before going to the questions, you know that where the wildfires have been defined. If you already know that, then it is going to be very easy for you to make a good connection between the sentences that are put here in incomplete form and the information that is available in the passage. So let's go further into the workshop and let's try to solve these by understanding it properly. Okay, so first of all, we are going to have a good look on our first question and we are going to find its right location. Because we are talking about wildfires, so we will directly move to that part of the passage where wildfires have been defined. So read with me. In-depth reading is going to happen, and in that in-depth reading, we will be able to establish a good connection here. So what wildfires are? Let's try to understand these and let's try to answer our question according to that. Before we read that in details, have a good look on question itself and understand that what part of wildfires are they expecting you to understand. And from the first part of question, you can see that they are talking about certain expected characteristics of it. If you do that, it will be easy for you to track your right location there. Okay, so they are talking about characteristics. Some characteristics they have already given you in the question, right? Like occurrence and its frequency, like temperature, how hot it is, like its speed, it has been also mentioned. Now what we are supposed to find in the passage is its movement, right? What kind of movement does it make? So let's read it and let's understand this. Okay, it says wildfires are becoming an increasing menace in the western United States, with Southern California being the hardest hit area. Okay, there wildfires have been defined. Further, it says there's a reason fire squads battling more frequent blazes in Southern California are having such difficulty containing the flames, despite better preparedness than ever and decades of experience fighting fires fanned by the Santa Ana winds. Okay, now this has been further elaborated what wildfires are. Now, what are the characteristics? They are going to mention those now. The wildfires themselves, experts say, are generally hotter, faster, and spread more erratically than in the past. Okay, one thing, these are hotter, they have told that. These are faster, they have already told that in the question. Now, what kind of movement are they making? What kind of movement is there, right? So it says the movement is quite unpredictable if you see that in question, and even they have said that it is moving very erratically in comparison to the past. What is moving more erratically, or what is moving more unpredictably? The spread of fire. So eventually spread more unpredictably. Wildfires spread more unpredictably. If you establish that connection with the text, you will be able to understand that. So before I show you the answer, you are supposed to have a good look on it by pausing the video, and you can also make that connection. Because how did I make that connection? I found the similarities of the characteristics that have been mentioned in passage and that have been mentioned in question itself. So if you establish those similarities, you will be able to find the right word to be placed here. Okay, so let's have a good look on the answer now. So you can clearly see why have I highlighted these parts, because these are those characteristics which have already been mentioned here. And final characteristic that is to be found by us is its spread, which is more unpredictable or which move more erratically. The spread of fire is moving more erratically than in the past. So here we are establishing the right connection. Okay, so moving ahead, now they are talking about the size of fire, because this is not something they have actually mentioned. This is something we have to make a connection. We have to split our questions in different parts. If we do that, it is very easy for you to classify your questions in connection to the text that have been mentioned in the passage. So let's try to understand what they have told about sizes of the fire, or the size of those fires which are happening in California. Okay, let's read it further. It says mega fires, also called ceasefires, are the increasingly frequent blazes that burn 500,000 acres or more, which is 10 times the size of average forest fire of 20 years. Because if we talk about this particular fire, this is 10 times more. This is 10 times bigger than the fires which happened in past 20 years. So let's try to understand how would we establish the connection of this size with the question itself. In the question they said, I will make a connection of entire sentence. It says mega fires are this much greater on average than 2 decades ago. How much greater than this? 10 times. 10 times greater than on average than 2 decades ago. So this is how we are establishing this connection. What is the size of fires? This is 10 times more or 10 times greater than that. Now, hope you remember the instructions. In instructions, we were allowed to use only one word, but they also gave us an option that we could use a number as well. So in that case, 10 will be numeric and times will be the word. So right answer here will be, okay, I'm going to show you the right answer, but before that, please pause it once and establish that connection by yourself and then move to the answer. Okay, here is the answer. So 10 times greater on average than 2 decades. We have clearly followed our instructions by using a number and a word in our answer. Moving to next question. Now, next question is basically about the reasons of wildfire. This is again something that I have bifurcated from the passage so that it can be really easy for me to find the right location as well as find the right connection between the information given in passage and the questions that have been asked of you. Okay, so first of all, our first question is about the average rainfall. Right? What is that average? Okay, it says one explanation for the trend to more super hot fires is that the region which usually has dry summers has had significantly below normal precipitation in many recent years. Precipitation is the synonym for the rainfall. And something that is mentioned here is average, that corresponds to the word normal. Average is the synonym of normal. So if we talk about that average, or if we talk about that normal rainfall, what was it? What was the quality of that normal rainfall, right? What was the intensity or the amount of it, that we have to understand here. So the answer according to me will be below average, because they have clearly said the rainfall was below normal. That is why fires were more. So let's see the answer. The answer clearly says below average. Okay, if we talk about our second question in this category, which is the fourth question in nutshell, it says there is another reason for more fires. That reason is the unintentional consequence has been to halt the natural eradication of underbush, now the primary fuel for mega fires. If we talk about the hindrance of or the stoppage of natural eradication of underbush is becoming another reason, because that underbush is becoming the primary fuel for the mega fires of California. So if we see that, it says, if we establish a connection, underbrush and brush are playing the role of synonyms here. So it says more brush, if there is more brush or if there is more underbrush available in those forests, it acts as something that triggers the fire. So they have clearly said that this underbrush is becoming the primary fuel. So it acts as a primary fuel, but we are allowed to use only one word. So we will use the noun itself, and the noun is fuel. So here the connection becomes on the spot, and the answer will be fuel for this question. So this is how we establish the reasons of wildfires in these fill in the blanks. Okay, moving ahead, there are a number of more reasons that have been mentioned in the passage, and even those reasons are asked in further questions, that is question number 5 and question number 6. So we will talk about these reasons further. So first question says, uh, why there is an increase in yearly temperature, extended fire something is there, right? What extended fire means. So let's try to establish that connection. It says, three other factors contribute to the trend they add. First is climate change, marked by a 1 degree Fahrenheit rise in average yearly temperature across the western states. Second is fire seasons that on average are 78 days longer than they were 20 years ago. They say that there is a reason which is extending the temperature, or which is also extending the fire season, or fire itself in California, that the fire season has been extended by 78 days in the current year. It means something that has been extended, and that is the seasons. You can clearly see extended here stands for this whole description, because according to that they say that the fire season of the year which has been mentioned in the passage was longer by 78 days. So seasons will be the right answer for this question. If we talk about question number 6, it is giving another reason for these wildfires. That reason is, according to them, is increased construction of homes in wooded areas. If there are more homes, there are more reasons of fire happening, according to the passage. What question asks you? It says more building of something in vulnerable places is another reason, according to them, of these fires. So you can see what is constructed or what is being built in vulnerable areas, vulnerable places, which are wooded places, of course, where fire can occur more frequently. That is homes. So if homes are constructed more in those areas, according to them, there is a reason behind more fires. Okay, you can see the answers yourself, and you can establish the connection of these answers by yourself as well. Before I conclude the lecture, I would like you to pause the video and make these connections yourself too, so that you can understand something from this workshop. All right, so that's all from this workshop, and I would really hope that this is going to help you to solve your questions of fill in the blanks, that is completing the notes or completing the sentences. Thank you so much.